All right, guys, so today you're going to be finding the volume of more complex figures, but you're going to be breaking them apart into rectangular prisms. So you can see here that like this guy here, I'm sorry, this shape is put together with like two rectangular prisms and it makes this big one that looks like an L. Now these two guys have the exact same measurements, but the way that they've cut them into rectangles is different. The thing that is really important to know as you're solving these is everything is going to be at least 4 steps or 3 steps to solve because you're always going to need to find the volume of one of them, and then you're going to need to find the volume of the other one. So we've got A and then B. The other thing that you're going to have to do, so you're always going to have the volume of one shape plus the volume of another shape, and there's actually one on this page that has 3 rectangular prisms that you end up breaking it into. But the thing that you can't take for granted is that the measurements are not always there for you. So for A, I definitely see my length, width, and height, which means solving that guy is going to be pretty straightforward. But when I'm looking for B, I have my length of 5. It's actually labeled up on the top. And I have my height of 3. But you have to figure out what the width is. It's not labeled right there. So you always have to kind of look around to find a measurement that would be congruent to or help you to find this missing measurement. So I don't know what it is here, but if I look here, from my A's width, this measurement is 2 feet. And since all these shapes are rectangles, it means the opposite side is congruent, which means this is 2 feet. Opposite side is congruent, this is 2 feet. So my width of B is going to be 2, just like my width of A was 2, which means I will find it by doing 5 times 3 times 2. Now, when I look at the one that's on the left here, the volume is going to be the same. So no matter how you cut it, if you decide to chop it down or over, your volume will always be the same as long as you're counting the right measurements. So for volume B, here, this guy, the volume, I didn't write V's in here, but that's okay. The measurements are mostly labeled. I see 8 is the length and I see 3 is the height. But again, we need to find the width. But the width, we know if this is 2, then this is 2 and this is 2, which means 3. Let's see if we can find it. 8 times 3 times 2. Now, I know you probably looked at this and saw there was a little subtraction problem, but not everybody may have known where that came from. And why that's important. So when you're looking at this top shape, I know I need my length, my width, and my height, but I have some figuring out to do. I know 3 works and I know 2 works, but 9 is not the height of A. 9 is the height all the way up from the top to all the way to the bottom. So the step you have to do is figure out, well, if I know the whole thing is 9, how do I figure out what that small chunk is? And the answer is you're going to have to do some work. And you're going to have to look around at some of the other measurements you know to figure out what this missing measurement, the height, is. So I see here that this is 3. And if this is 3, it means the other side is 3. So I know 3 plus something is going to give me the 9. Or the way that the page writes it, 9, take away this 3, is going to leave you with the height, which is leaving you with 6. 6 feet, 3 feet gives you the total of 9, which means you'll be doing 3 times 6 times 2. Now, of course, you do have the step of, number 1, making sure you know what the measurements are, that you're using the correct measurements. Some of them you need to figure out through calculations. Others you need to find a congruent side. You will have to do the calculations, and then you can't forget to actually add those together to get your total volume. So if you're struggling to find any of the missing measurements, watch the videos, and I will show you one way that a strategy I used to find some of those missing measurements.